Hi and welcome to the Well Body podcast with me, Samantha Hale. Today's episode is brought to you by my Well in 10 ebook, which you can download for free via my website, www.thewellbody.co.uk. It includes 3 guided wellness rituals which I have used in my own personal life, just to help give me those mindful moments of wellness, and they're designed to align mind, body and soul. Plus you get a free roadmap in there as well to help you create your own wellness ritual to use for yourself and maybe even share with others. So all you need to do to get yours is head on over to my website, www.thewellbody.co.uk, hit subscribe and it will be sent straight to your inbox straight away. Before we get started with this episode, I want to invite you to ask yourself this question. How can I be more peaceful both within and without? And with that in mind, let's get started. As we know, the yamas are abstinences or restraints. The niyamas are observances. We went over this very briefly in the introduction episode on Friday. If you haven't listened to it, please do go back and listen to that first, because it just gives you that nice foundation before we get started on today's focus, which is the very first of the yamas. It can be really easy to look at the yamas, the abstinences, the restraints from a lack mindset. But I'm going to encourage you to try and shift over to a more positive mindset in terms of how you look at them. So as we look at them in more depth, ask yourself how you can take each of these abstinences or restraints one step further and view them in a more positive way and apply them in a more positive way as well. So the very first of the yamas is Ahimsa. This is one that I found quite easy to relate to initially, mainly from a vegan viewpoint, if you like, because the word ahimsa, that Sanskrit word ahimsa, translates to non-violence. And that absolutely has to start first and foremost by inviting peace into our hearts, right? So think of it this way. If our thoughts become our words become our actions, and our actions become our destiny, then wouldn't you agree that in order to give peace freely to those we interact with, we must first practice peace within ourselves and of ourselves? Non-violence on its own isn't really enough, I feel. That's just my own personal opinion, viewpoint. By practicing internal peace within ourselves, only positive change can happen. And that really affects how we show up in the world as well. It's about watching our thoughts, being mindful of keeping those negative thoughts in check, which is so much easier said than done, right? I think we can all agree with that. But because we're human, and unfortunately, from a young age, we've kind of been conditioned to nurture our ego more than our soul, which I feel is quite sad. And by ego, I mean that voice in our head that was put there originally to protect us from danger, and which now oftentimes is that voice in our head that tells us we're not good enough, that tells us we're going to fail, that tells us we're not as competent as someone else, not as beautiful or attractive as someone else. It's that negative voice that puts us down. And let me just say that that is a conversation for a whole other day. Talking about the ego is a conversation for a whole other day, and one that we will discuss, I'm sure, at great length. But today we're focusing on Ahimsa. Now, if you think about it, change starts within, and it has to start here in the mind. It all starts with our thoughts and what we think. So by simply creating an awareness around said thoughts, we're already inspiring an internal shift for the better. By choosing those more peaceful thoughts, we are really leaning into that inner peace. In the book True Yoga by Jenny Lee, she states that peacefulness allows us to be proactive, enabling us to give peace and continual understanding to those who are angry with us until we have fostered a bridge of harmony. And on that note, I want to take you through a guided mini meditation. So bring yourself to a comfortable position, whether that's sitting, laying down, and just gently close your eyes here. Bring your attention to your breath. Take some deep breaths, deep cleansing breaths here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Bring your palms together in front of your heart and start rubbing them together. This is going to create warmth between your hands. Once you feel that warmth created, place your hands on your heart center and ponder that question from the very start of this episode. How can I be more peaceful within and without? How can I be more peaceful within and without? How can I be more peaceful within and without? Come back to your breath. Come back to your body. Gently open up your eyes. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you find this episode helpful and informative, and I hope you enjoyed the mini meditation at the end as well. Feel free to ponder on that question over the next couple of days. Let me know in the community on Facebook, on Instagram, what feelings and thoughts that brought up for you and how you're interacting with that question. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you on Wednesday morning when we'll be looking at how we can apply Ahimsa to our everyday lives together. Stay well. Bye.